draw cartoons with John-Marc. Hey, I'm John-Marc and welcome to my series on teaching you how to draw cartoons. Today I'm going to be sharing with you 3 different cartoons. We're going to be doing a little cute little cartoon, Bumblebee. That's right, standing up, a real fun one. Then we're going to be doing this little cartoon hut, another 2-point perspective lesson. And the last one we're going to be doing is a little cartoon cake. Use your imagination. What would the cake be like? Is it a carrot cake? Is it a chocolate cake? What type of frosting you might be on it? All 3 of these, I definitely want you to use your imagination. So if you have your paper and pencil, I think we're ready to begin today's lessons. I'll be working with my mechanical pencil and working on an 8.5 by 11 paper. I'm going to be creating the head first and now a simple body. As I shared in my previous videos, I always say use your imagination and feel free to explore and change what you're actually watching. I'm actually going to be having him standing up, so he's not flying or anything, and he just has 2 big feet, and here's one of his wings and his next wing. Very sketching out where his eyes and nose is going to go. Have that crosshair to help me. Here's one big eye. Here's another little eye. I'm going to make that little, and there's, you can see the eye that gives that little perspective, a little bit bigger and smaller, that helps it a little bit. His little nose and little mouth, working on his cheek there. Let's get him some eyebrows. Really standing up there. Now this is kind of whimsical type of antennas, so feel free to be creative and play around with this area. When you're actually creating characters, being very whimsical is a fun thing. Alright, so this is his little belly, little pattern. I'm following the shape of the contour, and I'm making his hands very skinny. I'm not going to be using any fingers or anything. This is basically how much I'm actually going to create them. His feet are a little bit more, as you can tell. Creating a little ground where he's on. Now I'm going a little bit heavier. As you can see, the first step was very light and very sketchy. Now I'm going to go a little slower and more detail. Here's a little thought. Think of the creativity, what your bee is. Is he on the ground? Is he on a flower? Wherever. So just use your imagination. I'm working on the next eye. As you can see, a little slower and a little bit more pressure. Still using the same pencil. This is the mechanical pencil. The lead stays a lot sharper, but you can still use different lead weight. And this is actually a 2B inside there. A little bit heavier on their brow. As you notice, the one thing difference between the HB and the 2B lead, they can actually smudge. So I am making sure I don't get that with my hand when I'm pressing down, not rubbing too hard. Let's give him a little eyelid on the top there. That's looking good. A little shading it in. That's looking good. Alright. Let's work on his little body. Simple shape. Little circle. Really sketchy. And again, remember, these are sketches, and I will be showing you how I color them in traditionally as well as on the computer with my stylus. So just keep note for future video lessons that you're going to see them coming out in the near future. But as of right now, these are just simple sketching. All right, there's his back of his body. Note, as you may want to also play up, is that's his wing. On this front side of his body, I'm going to make that transparent, that curvature right there. So when I'm shading, I'm using his body and taking the same, I'm going a little straight in the middle, and now I'm curving on the over on the top part, so that kind of gives that whole shape and that form. Now once again about the wing, that's going to be transparent on that part there when I'm coloring it in. Let's just shade the one in the back a little bit to separate that, stand out a little bit more. Yeah, and making them much wider on this one as well. All right, then there's this leg right there, simple as can be, straight like little wedge feet. Feel free to give them socks, shoes, sneakers, And you know what? Let's put some socks on him. There you go. And let's get the other one there. There we go. All right. That looks kind of fun. Give him that. And we can't forget his little stinger in the back, of course. And let's just give that a little flat color there. And there's whimsical antennas. A little bit on the top there. You can even make them look like they're broken or bent. In that case, kind of fun. There's his bottom. That's the wing still there. As you can see, it's going to be transparent. I'm just quickly putting some like little shrubs, bushes in the background. As always, when we complete it, make sure you sign and date it. And thanks for watching this video, and have a great day.
Now that was a fun lesson on how to draw that cute little cartoon bumblebee. Did you ever think about doing a bumblebee standing up? Maybe you wanted to change it and make the little bumblebee flying in the air over some flowers or plants or even a big pot of honey. Whatever it was, I know you can use your imagination, and that's the key thing. Did you watch how I was drawing again? How lightly I started and then go a little bit heavier and heavier? Those are some key things and tips to become a better artist. So if you enjoy this lesson, the next one you're going to enjoy just as much. So stay tuned. Welcome back to my show and teaching you how to draw cartoons. So if you still have your paper and pencil ready, we're going to be going over this cute little cartoon hut. Now remember I said it's going to be a 2-point perspective. So it's the angle on the view that you're going to be playing up with. If you don't know how to do that right now, use your imagination. You can do straight on. But just pay attention to how the actual shape looks, and I know you're going to learn the 2-point perspective really quick then. So if you're ready, let's begin.
I'll be using my mechanical pencil, and the lead is B. The paper I'm using is 8.5 by 11. So let's begin today's lesson. It's actually 2-in-1. I'll be sketching and also sharing with you a little bit understanding 2-point perspective, because that's exactly the form of this house, in my head that is. That'll be another lesson to share with you on perspective. But for now, you can just see the basic shape that I have would be considered where you had the 2 points to create this little block. And now I'm sketching very easily and lightly just the form of the little cartoon hut. By the way, this was inspired by a TV show called Gilligan's Island. Those of you who know that would appreciate that. So back to the lesson, of course. And I'm just working on some of the creative ways that a hut could look like with bamboo and with like banana leaves. So I'm just creating just the little structure, like the banana leaves going to be pretty much on the sides, and the actual outline there is more of the bamboo sticks. I'm sketching on the other side. Sometimes you might need reference, as I shared in previous lessons, and sometimes you can just use your imagination, remembering something that you might have seen on TV or read about. So here we go with just simple backgrounds, and I have like a little horizon. There's a banana tree leaf I'm putting in the back. There's a little short one growing. Just trying to give some more design to this picture. Instead of just the hut, I'm going to create some of the background and foreground. Some rocks I'm creating here, simple, really quick. Just creating a little form, little high, little low. And then I'm putting that little bamboo on the bottom entrance there. And let's put another one on the other side there as well. There we go. As you see, I rotate the paper because it's more comfortable for my hand to actually be sketching in that direction. So, and I bring it right back. And let's see what we're going to do now. Let's put some tall bamboo poles in the back like the trees. I'm just randomly going to be putting these lines throughout the back. Different angles, thickness, and so forth. Not going to go too crazy with the background, but just to give some subtle hint. Some more little rocks in the foreground. When you're thinking pictures, knowing you have the foreground, the midground, and the background. And I just create the little path here, just to give it like your movement for your eye, so it's coming from the right and going into the door. Now on the side of the hut here, I'm going to give some little grassy feels to it. So it's not all made out of wood, it's all natural. And I'm going a little heavier now, so this would be considered more my step number 2, where I'm going to be a little bit more detail and creating the little cartoon hut, following through. And even in this case, I can come back and still add and change things and go light and come back heavy on. But the first step is just to get my constructive idea out, so I can flush out all my thoughts, and then I can come back and build upon this. This is a very simple sketch. If I spent over an hour plus on it, it would be really detailed and shaded really nice. But I'm not going to spend all the time. It's just a sketch, a thumbnail more or less. Adding some shadowing, some lines in the inside to give some tone in there. I'm going to do cross hatching one way and the other way, so you kind of can see a little bit tone there. The further the lines away, kind of more gray. The closer the lines when you're shaded, the darker the gray. So I kind of had that top left-hand corner a little darker and the bottom right a little less, kind of give you that perspective. So watch here when I shade underneath here and then, and a little bit on the side there. Let's get the bamboo first there all together, and on the side there. Okay, here we go with a little shading right here. I'm going to start medium, and then keep it consistent all the way through. So it's the same level tone for the shadowing there. Let's create a little grassy area on the top, on the middle there. Let's get the little bamboo's little circle there. It's kind of cool when you pick up some of these little tips and stuff like that. I really want to point out, and I'm still learning as an artist, and I watch other people's videos and techniques, and we throw ideas back and forth professionally, which is always a learning thing. Sketching a little bit more on the side there, giving more shadowing. The light source in my head is coming from my top right down, and I'm making these bigger here, not as so big, tight should I say, as before. So it kind of gives it more of a light gray effect. A little shadowing underneath. You can see how close I'm putting the lines together. They give that hint of a little darker area. Likewise underneath the bamboo, a little darker there, a little darker underneath there as well. Okay, and let's get a little bit heavier and shade some of the stones and give some of the outline. Since I'm working with the lead B weight, it's really soft, so it smudges on your hands and on your finger very easy. So I really am trying not to push my hand across the paper when I'm using this lead. I like it because of the feel, should I say. It's nice and soft when sketching. Doesn't look like really stiff like an HB. But that'll be another lesson when I'll be sharing with you how I shade with different leads, because no lead is the same weight. There we go with the back of the banana leaf. I'm making a little darker because that one's in the back, and a little bit on the side there. Let's get more of that horizon. I'm just going to do little lines to separate the foreground to the midground right now there. A little grass, little lines there. Let's get a little bit taller, a little bit left and right. Grass here and there. That's looking good. A little more stroke on this rock here. Another one on the back, another one there, just forming it out. You can kind of see when you're creating and when you're sketching, it is a very free flowing form of expression. So when you're drawing, it just randomly comes out to you, and which is a great thing. You bounce back and forth on there. Now here's some little random leaves for the bamboo, just quickly, as if it was soft and blurred in the background, what I thought of. So it's not like a lot. You can add a little bit more. Be creative, change it up. You might want to have your hut near a beach and have a big palm tree with the waves coming in, and out in the far distance could be a boat. I just put mine more facing inside the jungle. All right, and finishing up a little bit more over here on the basic leaves for the bamboo. It's laying out a little bit more and subtle. Very simple sketch. And if you sketch daily, tip would be you'll get a to be much sharper and creative as an artist. So as always, time to sign and date it and share with your family and friends. And I hope you enjoyed today's lesson.
How did you do on that little cartoon hut? Was it a challenge? If so, I like that. Because everything that you're trying to learn as an artist should always be easy, because if it's a challenge, you're growing as an artist. Just remember that. When you're watching me at the same time, did you see how I was sketching? Is that something a little bit different than you are? That's something that you're learning as well. Using your imagination. What did you change with the picture? The shape, the size, did you add something? That too is using your imagination. That's creativity, and you're learning more. So if you enjoy the first two lessons, I know you're going to enjoy the next one. So stay tuned. Hey, welcome back to my show on how to teaching you how to draw cartoons. So what did you learn from the first two? You can apply it to this next lesson, this cute little cartoon carrot cake. That's right. I think it's a carrot cake, but it might be a chocolate cake for you or an ice cream cake. Whatever you want to use your imagination, feel free to, and even add to explore the shape and size. Change it to even to your style. So if you still have your paper and a pencil, I think we're ready to do the final lesson. Let's begin.
Today I'll be using my mechanical pencil with the number 2B lead. So as you can see, I'm just also using a standard 8.5 by 11 paper. Well, here begins the sketching technique that I want you to practice and learn, and that'll definitely help you to become a better overall artist. See, the key thing about being a better artist is sketching and drawing as much as you can on a daily basis. Don't worry about how the art looks. As you can see here, it's very sketchy because that's what it's all about. Just getting used to the form, playing around with different types of paper and lead weight and so forth. So I have the basic shape of the little cartoon cake, and now I'm just going to be creating the little eyeballs. You can see how I use multiple circles over and over and over again. And that is just to teach you it's not just one time around. Have that fluidity in your hand. And you'll also see sometimes when I'm sketching, I'm like not hitting anything, and then boom, my pencil hits the paper. I'm just trying to get the right arch or the right positioning. On top, there's this cute little candle, really simple. The frosting on the top, frosting in the middle. Let's get the little cute little face there. There we go, big mouth. Feel free to be creative and change things around. And what do I mean by that? The expression with the eyes and with the mouth, you can change it up. You might have a big smile with no teeth or several teeth, or you could be sad or tired. And the thing that I want you to really practice with is your technique and style. Even though you're seeing me doing it my way, doesn't mean you have to do it this way. Feel free to be creative. Now, the first thing is, that was my easy step number 1, where I go very light. And now I'm coming back to getting ready to do my step 2, a little bit deeper and harder with my pencil lines. And again, I will not be using any type of an eraser on this lesson. Later on, if I take it to a light box and I draw it on a better quality paper, and then I could ink it in traditionally or on the computer, whichever way, I would actually possibly use some erasing at that time, not at this time. So here we go. Again, a little bit darker on the top. So what I did there is, so the top part of the eye is a little bit heavier, almost if it was like an eyelid. Now let's get that little smile out there. And a little big mouth. And you can see inside his cake. He's a happy little cake. He's only 1 year old since he has only one candle. Now, since it's in the mouth, I'm going to shade into areas. The arch and a little bit deeper, little tonsils hanging in there. There we go. And sometimes you might need to get some reference from other people, how they were drawing inside the mouth or the eyes. That's okay. Practicing and watching other people draw and their techniques is a very good lesson. And here's the frosting. Just all different shapes in there. So what is your cake? Is it a carrot cake? Is it a chocolate cake? Mine right now, I'm going to make it a carrot cake. So thinking about that, I'm also thinking about the colors that it's going to be. So since that's the cake part on the side, it's a 3-layer cake, we might even need to have some texture in there. And what I mean by that is just adding a little dots in there, like it was like bread, you know, little porous areas, little freckles, if you want to think of that as well. Just randomly placing them. Very simple and easy, nothing too extravagant. And I'm not going too far with the shading with this one, meaning the shadowing all throughout there. This is just a comp sketch, meaning if I like it, I might do another one over and over again and position stuff and play around with the candle, be maybe a little bit different, or the facial expression. So when I practice this one sketch, I might practice it maybe 3 or 4 times before doing this lesson. Sometimes it is my first one, sometimes it's not, just to get used to what I'm looking at. And inside the little flame right there. All right, melting the little wax. I'm just going to give the color on there, a little bit on the back, the icing. And feel free to change the frosting. You might want to add some strawberries, some berries on there, different elements or sprinkles if you have some chocolate chips on there. Maybe even some crumbs on the bottom. Let's get some eyebrows on him right there. His expression a little bit more. There we go. Give him a little bit more excitable on there. On the bottom lip there. I'm just going to give quickly a little shade, shadowing all the way around for the little cake there. Let's give some bits and pieces of like the cake falling down here and there. Yep, I think that looks good. As always, when you finish it, make sure you sign and date it and share with your friends. I hope you enjoy this lesson and have a great one.
Now that was another fun lesson for me to share with you because I love eating my carrot cake. Or maybe I'm thinking ice cream cake now. What did you do different with it? Did you change the expression of the carrot cake? Did you add something to it? Whatever you did, use your imagination is always you're going to hear me say over and over and over again. But maybe you had a hard time trying to copy mine. Don't worry, because that is something that's going to take time and practicing, and more you practice, the better you'll become as an artist. So overall, if it was a challenge for you again, that's a good thing. So my website is jmg-studio.biz, and I hope you enjoyed all these lessons and have a great day.